has been doing for you guys so far in the playoffs?
I think we have really good preparation. I think the playoffs, obviously not being in school, we've got a lot of extra time. And I think Coach Day has handled the schedule really well. And I think all the coaches prepared us really well for the games. And I think that shows up in the game. I think our preparation has been better than the last two teams we played.
Going to go over to the right here, Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, Sonny, I wonder if you could summarize Cody Simon in a nutshell. What makes him tick? What level has he been playing on for a while now, et cetera?
I think the way he plays is just a product of him doing everything the right way. And obviously he's a great athlete, great player, great instincts. But I think the thing that sticks out to me about him is the kind of person he is. He's an amazing person, one of the best people you ever meet. He does everything the right way, how it's supposed to be done, and he's getting the fruits of his labor. So I'm happy for him.
You feel like you and he are really clicking right now? I mean, how long have you had that feeling, I guess?
I mean, I've had it for a while. I think Cody, he's made me a lot better player. It's been a blessing being able to play next to him. I think he's helped me a lot. Obviously, he's a very experienced guy. He's a great player. So he's helped me along with a lot of different things to help me learn stuff on a faster rate.
Go to Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
It's Sonny, Jack and JT play on opposite sides. Are they opposite people? Personalities?
I think they're different guys, but they're similar in certain ways. But I love them both. They both got high motors. I think that's something that makes them similar. And they just love ball. They love their teammates. They love playing for each other. They're more excited when the other guy gets the sack more than they are when they get their own sack. So I think that speaks volume about their character.
I mean,
just off the field. I think JT's a little bit more low key off the field. I think Jack, he's kind of always like a high energy guy. JT can kind of be a little bit more low key sometimes, but they both just love this team. We all love hanging out with each other. So I mean, I guess you could say they're similar in that way.
We'll go to Bill Landis, Kings of the North.
Sonny, Ryan said that when he was driving back on the bus, he was on the defensive bus and he heard you guys just talking ball the whole way, talking about stuff that happened throughout the game. How connected are you guys right now on defense, 1 through 11 or one through whatever, 13, 14, however you guys play?
I think we're really well connected. I think you see it out there when guys are making plays, guys running up to hype up the other player and things like that. But I think what really makes us go is the guy next to us. I think we all trust each other, we believe in each other, and we want to play for each other. So there's no one's out there with any kind of selfish intentions. It's just playing for the guy next to you.
Go one more question here locally, and then I'll let Scotty take it over for anyone on the Zoom. Over to the left, Steve Hellwagon, 24/7 Sports.
I got two, but they're not real involved. One, how have you improved from game 1 to game 14 doing this? You've never played this position prior to this season. Just in your mind, what are the areas that you've improved, I suppose?
I think my footwork improved over time. I think early on in the season, I kind of messed myself up with my false steps, crossing over, kind of made me a little bit slower to play. So I think I've got better at that. And I think I've got a little better at kind of trusting myself on certain plays. I think it's something I still need to work on. Still got a lot of work to do. But I think the biggest thing at linebacker, you got to just be instinctual and just go. You can't try and overthink things and try and overprocess it because then you'll be slow to the play every single time.
And Arvell Reese, just what have you seen out of him coming on this season? And it looks like he's ready to take over when Cody's done. Is that kind of how you view it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be he's a great player right now. He's going to be a really, really good player next year. Obviously he's a physical specimen, big guy, fast, can run, can hit. I think the biggest thing, he took a huge leap this year in terms of the mental part of the game. I think he has a great understanding of the game. Being able to play Mike linebacker, you got to be a smart football player, and I think he took a huge jump in that part of the game this year.
Throw it to Texas and Scotty.
Yes, sir. We have two questions on Zoom. Our first is going to come from Dan Hope from 11 Warriors. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Sonny, you talked about how you guys prepared going into those first two games. How do you guys make sure you keep that same edge going into this third game?
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach Day has been doing a good job making sure there's no let off. Last 2 weeks really don't matter if you lose this one. So we're not really focused on anything that's happened in the past. It's a clean slate, and we're just focused on beating Texas. They got a really good team, a really talented team, and we know we got to bring our best to be able to win that game.
Our next question is going to come from Kurt Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Kurt, go ahead.
Morning, Sonny. Good to see you. I was curious how you assess Texas offense, and they've had their struggles in the running game. So they look like a team that's kind of pass heavy and leans into the pass first. And how would you evaluate that part of their game?
I mean, you could say, I guess you say they struggled the past few games with the run game, but I think they got a super explosive run game. If you watch the Clemson game, I think they put up almost 250 rushing yards or something like that. I think they're a team that's capable of putting up around 50 points if you let them. So, I mean, defense got to show up ready to play. It's an extremely talented offense on all three levels. I think the quarterback's a great player. The running backs are very, very explosive. The receivers are very explosive. They got a great tight end, great O-line. So they're a well-rounded offense.
And you guys are a big favorite in the game. Do you worry at all about, overconfidence or complacency just because the way y'all have dominated the opposition so far?
No, I don't think any of the outside noise matters. I think there's things being said about us before we won those two games, and now there's things being said about us after we won those two games, and those things might be different, and it really doesn't matter to us. We're just focused on the opinion inside the Woody, and we know we got to bring our A game every single week. I mean, it's a really good team. It doesn't matter how we beat the last two teams. This is a whole completely different team.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all our questions on Zoom.
Alrighty, we'll go back to the local level here. Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Sonny, you guys travel, your fans travel very well, but obviously this game is in Dallas. Do you guys kind of thrive and like the playing in front of hostile crowds?
I think guys kind of like going in enemy territory sometimes. It feels good being a little bit of the villain, you could say. But yeah, I mean, obviously you got to take into fact that it is in Texas, so it could be a loud environment, could be like an away environment. We obviously know that, but I mean, it doesn't matter where you put the ball down. We're just gonna come show up and play.
And I think there's a stat that your opponents have not been called for a holding call since like September or something like that. Is that something that you guys are aware of? And do you guys point out on the film, they didn't call that one, they didn't call that one?
Yeah, we're aware of the stat. We don't pay attention to it too much, so you got to just play. I don't really got too much to say about that. You got to just play through it and just let your talent take over. Don't let it come down to a ref's decision.
Over here to the right, Austin Ward, the podcast.
Sonny, it didn't feel like against Oregon that you guys had to blitz as much as you had been in maybe some other games in the second half of the season. Why is that? What does it allow the linebackers to do when you don't have that responsibility? What made that a successful approach on Wednesday?
Yeah, I think when you got as talented as guys we do up front, with those four guys up front, I mean, a four-man pressure is feeling like a six-man pressure to the quarterback. So you're able to drop everyone else in the coverage. So it makes it a lot easier on our defense when the defensive line is just taking over like that. I mean, it's tough for an offense to do anything. You got four-man rush, feel like it's zero coming at you, and then you got everyone dropping into coverage, it's kind of just shelled over the field. So, I mean, it's definitely makes the defense a lot easier for everyone else when the defensive line's playing like that.
Jim Knowles had talked about this a little with having so many veteran players that you could make different game plans. You don't have to just be, pigeonholed into one thing week after week. Does it feel when you get in there and you guys start game planning like they are very different for every opponent for you guys at this point?
I mean, I don't know if I would say that. I think they keep it simple enough where guys aren't like confused when we're doing. I mean, it might like look like that for like the quarterback. Like we might be giving them different looks and things like that. But I don't think it's overcomplicated at all. But I mean, that might just be because we got a veteran defense as well. So could be a little bit biased, but that's kind of the way it feels. It doesn't feel overly complicated or anything like that.
We'll go to Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Sonny, how do you think it's helped you guys to have Caleb Downs drop down more into the box late in the season? You've been doing that. Seems like more. How does that help you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think both our safeties have done a really good job, dropping down in the box and being able to come down fast and run support. I mean, I think when you see guys coming from 12 yards and they're making tackles for 2 yards gains, that's pretty impressive. I mean, you saw Latham last game come from the weak side boundary hash about 10, 12 yards deep, come down, hit the dude at 2 yards and like almost knock him out. So, I mean, both our safeties they're super impressive in the run game. So it definitely helps with the defense. Usually when you're dropping the safety in, usually those are 4-yard runs, 5-yard runs, and they're stopping them for 2-yard runs, no yard runs. So it's super impressive and it helps the defense out a lot.
We'll go to Jeremy Birmingham, the podcast.
Sonny, how much has the defense structurally changed since the Oregon game in Eugene, or is it more of us talking about you guys just being more veteran and knowing the defense better, or has there been fundamental changes that have been made? Because it looks a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been some changes, but I think a lot of it's been a mentality of trying to just be more aggressive, and we're just trying to just having an aggressive mindset. I think you've seen that when it shows up on tape, with the pressures, the TFLs, and things like that. And I think we've gotten a lot better since the beginning of the year, and we kind of improved on the issues that have shown up each week because the issues are always there. And I think we've improved on those really well. And then obviously we look like a completely different team now.
Different aggressiveness from the coaching staff since then. I mean, not just Coach Knowles and individual position coaches like Coach Laurinaitis, but even from Ryan Day. Like, has he been a different type of leader?
I think he's been a great leader the whole year. I think after that team at North lost, we kind of hunkered down and say like, hey, we're gonna get up and we're gonna start swinging, and we're gonna keep swinging as hard as we can, and see what happens at the end of the game. And I think that's what we've been doing the past 2 games, and it's worked out pretty well.
Going up next to Mick Walker, Letterman Row.
Sonny, you mentioned a great tight end earlier. What stands out to you about Gunnar Helm, and how do you kind of take out a guy that's such a focal point for their offense?
I think he runs great routes. He has good hands. I think they set up some really nice plays for him. Like you see some of those plays where he kind of sneaks out of the protection and comes out wide open. I think the biggest thing that stands out is probably the routes in the hands. He's super impressive for a tight end. Obviously you gotta always be aware of where he's at on the field, and there's going to be some explosive plays set up for him.
Any other questions here?
Can I ask one
locally?
quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Tim May, Letterman Row.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, Jerry. Quinn Ewers in a nutshell, how would you describe him to someone? Because he seems even more effective when he kind of gets out of the pocket or moves around and stuff. Sonny, what do you see when you think of him?
I would say the capability of early on in the game, him getting his routine, like some of those routine throws, they run the ball, then it's play action shot, 50 yards downfield, things like that. I think he does a super good job of that. Being able to sell the play action, pull the safeties up, and then hit you downfield with a 60-yard bomb, thing like that. So I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me on film. He's a super talented quarterback, super talented arm talent. He can get the ball out in many different ways. But yeah, that's probably how I put it in a nutshell. He's just a super talented player. I mean, he can make any throw on the field. Like you said, he can move around a little bit. I don't think people respect that enough. His legs, he can move around and extend the plays and hurt you downfield.
Really odd. The guy used to be in this building at least for 4 or 5 months.
I wasn't really here with him, but I don't think it's really odd. We played some former players before, but obviously he's a talented player. I think a lot of guys have a lot of respect for him, so it's just gonna be a good matchup. Excited for it.
Go to Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, I don't know when we'll talk to you next. I'll ask you now. I'm sure it's the last thing you're on your mind and we talk about. Do you have any idea what you're gonna do about next year? I mean, you're obviously can go to the NFL. Do you have any thoughts on that right now?
No, I haven't thought about it at all. Just worry about winning.
Gotti, that's it from Columbus. For Sonny Styles, any more on your end?
No more on our end. Thank you, Sonny.
Well, thank you.
Okay.